Welcome to the Cash Flow Couple Podcast, where we go behind the scenes in our short-term rental business and reveal tips, tricks, secrets, successes, and failures. Whether you have 0 units or 100 units, this podcast is for you. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Wendy Williams, along with my husband, John Williams. Together, we operate Queen City Suites, a short-term rental business here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Welcome back to the podcast. I am your hostess with the mostest, Wendy Williams, here with Mr. Williams.
Mr. John Williams.
Mr. John Williams. So last podcast, it's only been 1 week. It doesn't feel like it's been like a month.
It's funny because Tuesday, we usually release Sunday. Tuesday after, it felt like it'd been a week.
Oh my God.
Because we were working so hard on exactly the things we were talking about. You know, going after different customer types, advertising in different places.
Right.
Because if you didn't know, there's the corona right now.
There's the corona.
And travel, it's even gotten worse since last week. You know, there are whole cities that have shut down.
I know, it's crazy.
They've closed the bars and restaurants.
It's crazy.
You know, we were I think our industry was first to see it in a lot of ways because people stopped taking, you know, a lot of ours were families with children coming to town for life events, and those life events got canceled. Graduations got canceled, all that stuff. And so for their reason for coming, even if they weren't scared of catching the virus or weren't prevented from traveling technically, they had no thing to go to. And so they just canceled on us. And so that was kind of what we were talking about last week is, you know, what we were doing to get business back because it wasn't happening in our traditional channels or even our traditional who do we serve groups. And so this week, Wendy mostly has been reading through articles with ideas, and we've been kind of putting those down, and we wanted to relay those to you as well.
Right. So we talked about this a little bit in the last podcast where we really had to switch our target audience, right?
Yeah, and I believe that's one of the items on your list.
Yep. So that the main thing that we have done was to start catering to a new target audience, which is the traveling medical professionals.
Yeah, because they are the one group that is traveling right now,
right? Mm-hmm.
Extensively. So that seems like a natural.
Mm-hmm. But that's not the only one, right? So there are other people. For example, all the universities got shut down.
Yeah, and we talked about that last time,
and we talked about that.
About how we needed to there's always people to help in that whole line of thinking. So you got to start thinking about who's out there to help.
Yes. So, and you know what else was interesting through my research this week was that I hadn't thought about before was some people are actually in the cities, in the larger cities, actually looking to get out of the larger cities and go out. And if you have a unit that is
like more remote,
yes, then that's what people are really looking for right now is to get away from that. You know, we're practicing social distancing right now.
Yeah.
So they're looking to get away from everyone and everybody in the hotels. They're looking to get out as well. So that was quite interesting that I found during my research.
Yes. I think that's you wouldn't and I did hear that some of the more remote and like if you have for example like a covered wagon quote Airbnb, you know, a covered wagon short-term rental or something. You seen these?
No. What?
Yeah. Remember the one we saw the other day? It's like a bunch of old trailers.
Yes. Now like that is cool.
One of them's a covered wagon.
That's right.
And one of them's a teepee.
One of them's a teepee.
And they have like this mini golf course and stuff like that.
That is so cool. So, I love it.
You know, I don't know if you want to be on the mini golf course with people, but being out in the middle of the desert somewhere might not be a bad idea right now. You know? So if you're planning on taking that spring break or whatever, maybe going some place like that isn't a terrible idea, especially if you live in a large city like a New York or an LA or where it's harder to social distance because, there are more people, and they're more on top of each other.
And another idea was that you should really think about being able to accommodate pets, because there are normally not a lot of places that accommodate pets. And now people who are looking to social distance themselves
are coming with their pets.
Their pets, yeah.
Because they might be staying longer terms, and they don't know if they're coming back home, and all sorts of reasons, right?
Yep. Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Let's see. What else did I find out? We did the traveling nurses. We also talked about listing on different platforms. We talked about that last time. What else I thought was...
But that's interesting when you say platforms, because we're like everywhere now.
Right.
So traditionally when you think different platforms, you're like, oh, well, I guess I'll list on HomeAway too. And maybe booking.com. I'm like, no, man, we're on Zillow. No. We're on apartments.com.
Yes.
We're on Craigslist. We're on Facebook.
We're on Facebook Marketplace.
We're everywhere.
We are on just about every single Facebook group that has to do with traveling medical professionals. Every single one of them.
And on our personal pages saying,
yes.
Hey, if you know somebody that, because the problem is that the problem isn't that there aren't people that have a need. The problem is they don't know how to get in contact with you now.
You need to get in front of them.
Right. Mm-hmm. And compound that with, just for example, like on Airbnb, these college kids getting dumped out of the dorms. Well, one of the places they would have gone was to an Airbnb. Mm-hmm. But Airbnb made a policy change not long ago that said, hey, if you're under 25, you can't book a place on short notice, basically, like an entire space, because they were trying to do away with the party house thing. Mm-hmm. And that policy just happened to coincide with a bunch of people under 25 needing places now.
Oopsie.
And they can't go. They were the ones that would have gone there, because Airbnb tends to be a younger audience anyway. And now they don't know where to go. So they're going to the hotel, and the hotels are shutting down. I think I saw Hilton was going to shut down.
Yep.
They might be going to an apartment complex saying, hey, we only need it for a month or two, and they're just not set up for that. So, how do you get in front of those people? And it might be going to those places and saying, hey, we have availability. If somebody comes to you, you can refer them to us.
Yeah, but you got to get yourself out there, and you have to tell everybody. I am serious. We are posting anything we can on our personal Facebook pages.
Yeah, but you should be on Instagram
every single day.
Twitter, you should be on.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yes, everywhere.
So when we say platforms, we mean anything that resembles a platform. Any way to get your message
Everything is fair game now. Yeah. And you know what? We should have been doing this the entire time.
Yeah, and we've talked about that too. It's not something that we're going to stop doing when this all ends. No. It will. This will all go away. Things will kind of go back to normal. In fact, there probably will be a surge of travel because people had to delay their plans, or they still want to go see their grandson. They just can now, or whatever it is, or maybe it's just they've been pent up in the house for a month.
Oh, no, that's right.
And they're ready to get out and do something.
I'm about to go stir crazy.
So that is going to happen, but that's no reason that we can't keep that side of the business that we're now developing and just have it as an ad and have it as a buffer for when things change again.
Right. So our entire lead generation side of the business has just exploded. So
those are terribly inefficient methods.
Right. They really are. And that was the whole thing of it. But now we've got nothing but time.
Yeah. I mean, we need to be, they're inefficient, but they're effective. So we need to go do them.
Right. And now we can start, now that we have the time, which leads into the next point that I wanted to make was.
This is another item on your list.
But we have the time now to implement systems and processes that we've been meaning to implement this entire time. We just didn't have time to do it.
Yeah. You're right. Because you're busy with handling guests. Well, you're not right now.
Right.
So
Exactly.
take this time to fill in some of the holes we have even, add new channels, add new processes, as you say, for taking more direct bookings and that sort of thing.
Yep.
We've really kind of defined that now because we need a way to do it. So now's the time to develop it when you need it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then they'll still be, like I said, it'll still be there when this all ends. It'll just be extra. And we will come out the other side not as reliant on, your easier, more efficient channels like an Airbnb or HomeAway or Booking.com or anything like that.
Yep, exactly.
So what was next on your list?
That leads me into the next thing on the list was to actually go through your listings and maybe look at your reviews, for example, and respond to your reviews, which you should be doing, but that takes time, right? So respond to all your reviews, maybe go back and respond to all the reviews that you haven't had a chance to respond to, but look at them. Actually read the reviews, and if somebody has made a suggestion to you, really take it to heart and think about implementing some improvements.
Yeah, because you can.
Because now's the time to really go into your listing and maybe
refine it, make it better.
Maybe update your pictures or
your description, even
your description.
Stuff like that. Well, that's probably leading into your next one. I think is You're probably going to want to be advertising a little differently anyway.
Well,
with what you say, what your title is, because one of the things I know is on your list is you want to advertise that your place is sanitized and clean.
Yeah, well, we can go down there now if you want to. So, and that was one of the things that we are going to start doing is to actually go in and sanitize and disinfect everything. I'm talking about the entire house, remote controls, doorknobs, window handles, the bathroom sink faucets and the kitchen sink faucets, the stair railings.
When you say we, you mean the cleaners?
I mean the cleaners.
Right? Okay.
I mean, I'm not.
Okay, I'm just making sure if you were going to send me over there with some baby wipes or something.
Oh my gosh, that'd be funny. I would totally have to videotape that and post that all over social media.
Yeah, but these would be like items that we're even changing the cleaning checklist to say, hey, here are the most important things.
Yes.
Prioritize
changing the filters, doing the light switches, wiping down all the kitchen appliances. I'm not talking about the toaster and the blender and this is like a total disinfecting.
Yeah, I got an ad or an email from a local company that is a cleaning company, and they were actually an organic cleaning company, but they were specifically advertising that, hey, we now have some stronger products. Oh. I'm assuming like Lysol and stuff like that aren't necessarily green, but they're very effective in cleaning and viruses and stuff. And they were actually offering that as a special service. So, maybe now's the time to find somebody that's a super good cleaner because they're not as busy either right now.
Right. Sure.
And the really good ones need the work.
Sure.
Probably. Mm-hmm. And so now might be the time to really evaluate, is somebody, cleaning and sanitizing like they should, and get somebody in there that really is advertising that and pushing that hard, and have them go in there and do those things, and then maybe keep them on the other side of this, right? So it may be time to evaluate your cleaners, evaluate all your staff.
Yep.
And it's good for them too because they need the work.
Yeah.
Right? So if you've got things for them to go do, even if, hey, the unit was cleaned last time somebody checked out, but hey, that was 3 weeks ago, right? Because all your vacancies happened. Yep. Everybody canceled. Have somebody go back in and really sanitize it and get all the dust off of everything and all that stuff, and then put that in the listing saying just sanitized, or just cleaned and sanitized.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. Advertise it.
I like that idea.
Advertise that that your property has been newly newly sanitized and disinfected, and then, maybe put in the description,
because cleanliness is always important, but that might be something that's more top of mind right now.
Yeah.
Because I would be
newly
thinking
disinfected, protect your guests and your property, and
plus I might want to go
safe.
to a home like that rather than a hotel. I mean, I'm not sure that I'm always convinced that a hotel room is cleaned and sanitized.
God,
you know what I mean?
That's right.
But I might be more apt to trust somebody that has a home and is specifically advertising that and all that kind of thing. So it might be a trust factor as well.
Well, that's true. And another thing that you could do is to provide some hand sanitizer.
If you can find any. Right?
Did you see that article about the brewery who was making...
That's a good point, yeah.
Hand sanitizer now?
Yes.
Yep.
And we actually have a recipe for that. It's alcohol and the aloe vera. Because
we've got those aloe plants.
We've got these giant aloe vera plants.
Oh my gosh. It's called the Kraken. It's
we call
big.
It the Kraken
we call it the
huge.
Kraken. It has spawned like 5 times.
But that's an ingredient for the hand sanitizer.
Yep, that's right.
Which I thought was really cool. You can make your own. But you're right. There was a distillery that was distilling alcohol to make sanitizer with.
Isn't that cool? Isn't that interesting how businesses adapt like that?
Yes. Yeah. And I've seen so much of that. Just like that cleaning company I was talking about, or anything that is a food place right now is really heavily advertising
takeout,
and that they're still open. You can get takeout.
Yep.
And that they've got all these discounts and all this kind of stuff, and we've got to be doing that too.
Yeah,
right,
for sure.
And advertising the things that you can advertise, cleanliness and sanity. That's something to advertise. And you know what? Right now.
Another thing that you can do is to actually maybe print something out and let your guests know, here are the things that have been done in this unit, and put it in your unit or put it on your listing. So and be very specific, like we've disinfected this and this.
Okay.
And print it out and put it inside the unit somewhere, and put it on the listing as well.
Yeah, I like that idea, actually.
Yeah. So informing them about exactly, being very specific about...
Not just we cleaned it, but here's the things we did.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. And people really appreciate that, I think. So, and what else you could do is actually inform your guests on how to stay safe during this. Like, print out the World Health Organization sent out some prevention measures, and you can look it up on their website actually, and print it out and
put it in the unit, or send it to them as a PDF,
or send it to them as a PDF.
Put it as part of your check-in instructions. That'd be a good idea.
Yep, it's got things on it like wash your hands, cover your nose and mouth when sneezing.
Right, but it's considerate.
Right, exactly.
And it also gives people a better feeling about, you're taking it seriously, and this is a good place to stay and all that.
Right. Yep. And, you don't forget about the bedrooms, right?
Why would you?
Because people are leaky. Right. When your cleaning staff is disinfecting everything, they also need to remember the light, the bedside lights.
Mm-hmm. Anything that you touch.
Yes. Yeah. All of that.
Which is potentially anything, but there's some things you are definitely going to touch more often, right?
Yeah, for sure. But that's all I had. I can't think of anything else.
We can stop there. That's a bunch of really good information.
It really is.
And we'll have more. We keep adding to the list.
Well, we keep doing.
But that should get your juices flowing and give you some ideas about some things you can be doing. Not all is lost. So do the things you can.
Did we talk about improving your property descriptions and your pictures? Okay.
We did.
All right. Excellent. Okay. So we already talked about that. Oh, we did not talk about offering discounts and promotions.
True. And your pricing.
Pricing.
Things that we're doing right now. We actually use Price Labs and Wheelhouse, but we switched back to Price Labs right now because specifically Price Labs has a coronavirus setting.
They have a coronavirus setting.
Yes, so you can set your property to coronavirus, and it will and it will start discounting more and earlier and all those kind of things.
Oh,
it has an algorithm for getting you business. Of course, that's on Airbnb and your personal site specifically, but it can go to any other channel you want it to as well.
Right.
And that is one of the things we've done. Something else we've done is if you had a minimum night stay before, consider getting rid of it.
That's
and
good
consider
advice.
Taking your cancellations policies to something a lot more flexible, because people are going to be looking for that now. They're looking to say, hey, I want to book for next month, but if this thing's still around, I want to be able to get out of it. And they might pick you based on your cancellation policy versus somebody who's, non-refundable or very strict or something like that. So even if normally you're more strict about it, now might be the time to relax those a little bit, because it help you get business. So that's other things we've been doing. But then don't forget yourself to cover your calendar far out. So if you set all your prices really low, well, you might be setting them automatically low for August and July too. At this point. And so you need to make sure that you go far enough out and do things like either raise the prices far out or make your minimum stays really long.
Okay.
So if you're set up to only make a couple, $500 a property or something, well, then make them stay 3 months if they're going to book that for July.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Because that makes it probably worth it to do.
That's good.
But those are some things you can do. It's just some things to kind of watch out for. Mm-hmm. But Price Labs right now is really good for that, and it will heavily discount, which just means you got to watch out for your far out dates. You got to watch out for how low it'll go. So you probably want some minimums if you didn't have them already, and then consider relaxing your cancellation policy and your minimum night stays at least close in,
right.
And then maybe bumping those far out.
And we're actually going to be offering a training like that in our community. So if you are
inside the community, we're going to do a training on pricing, because
that's
it
really
can get
important.
complicated.
Yes, yeah. So
there's ways to do it, but you want to be careful about how you do it and think through all of those things.
Right.
But it's certainly can be effective for sure, especially in a time like now.
Yep, definitely. So if you want to check that out, it's at thecashflowcouple.com. And we hope that you have found value in our podcast. If you do, like and share it, and we will catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to another exciting episode of the Cash Flow Couple. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, virtually anywhere you might find a podcast, whatever podcast player you're listening on now. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out. It helps other people find us. It helps us move up in the rankings. If you did not know, we also have a YouTube channel. It's The Cash Flow Couple. All of our episodes go there. But as well, we also put other video content that is not part of the podcast. You can find us on Facebook at The Cash Flow Couple. We go live there quite a bit. We share tips, tricks, things that are behind the scenes in our business that you may not see on the podcast, but it's definitely more of a real-time, day-to-day type experience. So definitely follow us on Facebook. If you want to ask us questions, or if you have concerns or something you want to hear on the podcast, hit us up by email, info@thecashflowcouple.com. We love to hear from our audience. We really care about you guys. We want to see you succeed, and we want to hear what you have to say. So hit us up, info@thecashflowcouple.com. So until next time, happy hosting, happy investing, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Cash Flow Couple.